So guys, welcome back to the channel. This right here is the Bytech Jellyfish speaker. It is a Five Below speaker, $7 before taxes. So you're leaving out of the store for $8 depending on which state you're in. Apparently the Jellyfish tentacles, whatever they're called, actually moves, which is pretty cool. And it does change color. One of the reasons why I purchased it, because I figured my wife would like something like this. It is a 5-watt speaker, ambient light as it says. Apparently you can hook up more than one speaker at the same time to make a bigger sound. But of course we're going to do one speaker today to see how well it sounds and if it's worth actually hooking up two speakers. Now a little specifications before we open up the box. Bluetooth version 5.4, not bad. Sound input 5 watts, we already said that. I think I did in this video. Charges up to 2 hours, so it does take nearly 2 hours from 0 to 100% to charge. But the good thing is that it has up to 6 hours of playtime, which is really good. Operation range 10 meters or so, which is roughly about 32.8 feet or 33 feet if you round it off, so keep that in mind. It does have a rechargeable battery inside, hence the reason why it has 6 hours of battery life. I don't see anything that says IP rating, but this isn't the type of speaker that needs to be near water, so keep that in mind. It's more so going to be stationary or moving around inside of your house because it is wireless. With that being said, there doesn't seem like there seems to be any other features outside of it being Bluetooth, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes simple is better, and of course, no worry, it is a Bytech product. I did one of their products before, it wasn't too good, but hopefully this one works out pretty well. Anyway, timestamps in the description for anyone that want to skip to the part that they want to see. Let's get right into this review. So I did the favor of already unboxing this so that you wouldn't have to go through the process. You have a USB-C cable, which to be honest looks pretty short. Let me just unravel that just to kind of double check the length. I'm thinking like maybe a foot at most, and I might be generous about, yeah, this is definitely smaller than a foot. 8 inches, not too sure how long the cord is, but if you have your own USB-C, that should work just fine. Keep that in mind. You have the speaker itself right here, which I'm not sure if this is a speaker on the bottom or not, which would be pretty cool if it was, or if the fabric aspect is a speaker. But I do like the way this looks, if I'm being honest with you. Now, it does look a little cheaper than what I saw, when you look at the box itself, but it is Five Below, and I still don't think that this is bad looking, especially since it lights up. You have your USB-C right here. Apparently, there's a headphone jack. I wasn't expecting that. I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe a microphone or something, but we're going to look at the instructions in a second. And then we have the actual power button right here. And then these plus, I believe this is a plus and a minus. Let me kind of get that closer. As a matter of fact, let me look at it. Yeah, plus, minus. This is probably pause and play, or at least power on. And I'm not sure if these buttons double down to change songs or not, whether you hold it or tap it to change the song or turn up the volume. But we're going to check out the instructions. But if we're just looking at the structure of this, I think it looks pretty nice so far. I don't think this is a bad looking speaker at all. But let me just kind of put that to the side and let's go over the instructions together. Let's look at the instructions and then we'll move on to how to actually sync this thing. So it does give you some basic instructions right here about safety and whatnot. It actually tells you what the buttons are over here, so we don't have to guess anymore. So it looks like you have volume up, volume down. Well, obviously volume up, volume down, you can see it right there. But it also changes the track with the plus, and it changes the volume with down. So you either hold it or tap it, and that's how you change the sequence. Pretty simple to use. You have your pause and play button right here, and power button, which is, we're going to turn on in a moment. Turns out that's an aux-in cable, which I don't know who would really use that if you have this connected to Bluetooth, but the option is still there. And of course, you have the USB-C charging. And if you flip this over in the back, it's actually a button sequence to show you what this thing is capable of. So apparently the speaker does in fact have Bluetooth and FM radio. Okay, FM radio it is. We'll check that out in a little bit. But see this right here with the volume. So you long press in order to increase volume. You long press into decrease volume for the minus, and if you tap the button, the plus or minus, you'll go forward or backward. So now we know. And that's just the basic instructions right here. We won't be needing this anymore for the video. So with that being said, for anyone that needed to see that, just screenshot that part of the video so that you'll forever have the instructions and you'll know exactly how to navigate this speaker. In a worst case scenario that you forget, you don't use it in a while, and then you forget how to put it back in sync mode. So for this part, I'm going to show you guys how to sync it. But unfortunately, the speaker's battery life is a little dead right now. So I'm just going to plug it up to a charger just to show you guys how it looks. And then we'll go through with the sync process. So let me do that right now for you. Here we go. All right, so it's plugged in. You hold this button right here, this power button, for a couple seconds. There we go. And the speaker is turned on right now. So I'm just going to give it a couple seconds to see if it goes itself into sync mode. And then we'll go to the settings. As a matter of fact, while it's doing that now, you go to settings for any device that you have. You're going to go ahead and go to Bluetooth. It's going to look a little bit different depending on what type of Bluetooth device you're actually using. So keep that in mind. Tap that. Here we go. by-be-179. It pops right up. I said 179. Yeah, 179. I said that correctly. So you tap this. I'm going to hit pair. Now for Apple users, it may not say pair. For someone using a Steam Deck or a Nintendo Switch or some form of TV or whatever it is that you choose to use to connect this to, when you tap Bluetooth and you tap it, it's probably just going to automatically connect and you're good to go. Android, from my understanding, seems to ask you an extra step, like do you really want it to sync, or just in case you accidentally press the button, which is a nice little safety feature. But outside of that, you follow these instructions. This is how you sync it. Very simple, very easy. You shouldn't have any problems moving forward. So first things first, I found something very odd with the sound, and I think this is just not a defect of the speaker, but more so a design flaw. Because the speaker is on the bottom right here, the sound actually gets a lot better when you lift the speaker up versus leaving it on the desk. It sounds distorted. So to give you an example of that, I'm going to play Warzone first, and I'm going to let you just listen to it for a couple seconds. Then I'm going to lift the speaker up, and you tell me if you can hear a difference, because I can definitely hear it because I'm in, face to face with the speaker. Here we go. Wait for the beat to drop. You'll hear it. All right, here we go. Sounds better, doesn't it? Doesn't sound as distorted when you lift it up. But now when you put it down, it's like all that sound is trapped in the speaker because it's so low to the mat where it just doesn't mesh very well. Yeah, that's what I get from the speaker, is that when you play it the way it's meant to be played, which is standing up, it feels like the music quality suffers because the speakers are like right by the table. It's like literally kissing the table. So all that sound is just trapped in the same location, and it makes things sound a little muddled. But the moment you lift the speaker up, it actually sounds pretty good for the asking price to $7. And of course, I'm basing that on Five Below products because you got to temper your expectations because sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So yeah, this is not a bad speaker, but the placement of the speaker itself on the bottom was a terrible design choice in my opinion. Now, if anyone buys it, I think you'll still enjoy the aesthetic of this blinking, because it's two ways. If you double tap the home button or the power button, it'll change the actual sequence of how it lights up, like so. You'll get more colors and whatnot, but it's more of a quick change sequence. You tap it again, it turns off, and then you tap it 2 more times, and it goes back to that ambient, pulsing, changing color, which I think that this is the best setting. Even if the color scheme isn't what you like, just the pulsing and then coming back up is a lot more professional than the other ways that they do this. So anyway, I'm gonna do Fire and Ice, or Ice and Fire, the song, and I'm gonna see how the vocals are. I want you to hear it too. See, look, it doesn't sound horrible, but when you lift it up, all that sound is no longer trapped, so you can hear better. Put it back down. I don't know, maybe it's just my ear, because I hear it, and it's like... See, even the vocals sound cleaner when it's lifted. Alright, I don't really need another sound sample, so let me just be a little lenient on it. I actually think that this is a pretty decent speaker in terms of just quality. Even when I play it at a higher octave at 100%, it doesn't really break up. Now, it's different songs in different genres. If you're playing death metal or something, the speaker doesn't really perform well. if you're playing Korn in certain songs, I'll be honest, it didn't perform well. It actually performed better with R&B and rap because, you know, it's not like this is some 30 watt, 50 watt speaker out here and it's really just kicking out a lot of sound. This is a pretty low end product. It is on a low end spectrum. So do please keep that in mind and temper your expectations. If you're used to a Beats Pill or J-Labs or any other more name brand companies, the quality here isn't even going to touch it, if we're being honest here. But the price tag is dramatically different too. And I don't even think that this is a bad gift idea. But even if you look at the tentacles right here, they don't really move or anything. It just moves if you happen to move it. I thought maybe it moved along with the music or something, like there was some type of mechanism. It doesn't exist. So, you know, but it's not a big deal. I didn't really expect it to do so. It just would have been nice. But if we're just talking about the quality of sound, I don't feel like this is a bad speaker, but I do feel like this placement of the actual microphones or, you know, speaker at the bottom was just a terrible, terrible design flaw right here. It should have never been here. It could have been more in the middle. That would have made more sense. Or realistically, the middle probably wouldn't have made sense either. It should have been more right here in the fabric itself being hidden so you can't actually see the speaker. And then that way the sound would come from a more pronounced place. Maybe theoretically, if it goes on the bottom, it's supposed to spread out the noise. But if the drivers aren't really good, like high quality or even mid-tier for that, if the drivers aren't even in the normal category, then the sound that it produces isn't going to really be that good. And something just tells me, and I'm not even trying to be mean about this, but I feel like a lot of these companies don't actually check their products before they release it. They just kind of just release the same specs, bring an idea out there, and then throw it out to the general public. Whether they're wholesaling the Five Below or not, quality control matters. And anyone that would have turned on the speaker and listened to it and then picked it up would have noticed immediately what it is that I'm talking about. But as a guy that has so many headphones, that's just an anal issue for me. For the average person, you may not care as much, so just kind of keep that in mind. But I just wanted you guys to know it. But overall, I don't think it's a bad speaker, even though I'm talking a little down to the music quality, because the voices came out good. It was pretty clear, especially when I lifted it up. And I had nothing really to complain about outside of that. So far, it's not bad. Anyway, let's move on. So I'm going to try to put the speaker in FM mode. The instructions are like, it doesn't really show you the instructions, which is a weird thing, but basically all it says is plug a 30 cm charging cable included, that's the one it comes with, to use as an antenna, and press the next track button to switch radio stations. Unfortunately, I don't see where it says to actually switch it over to radio mode, which is kind of important. So let's just try a couple things now and see if I can get it working. So what happens if I just hold the plus? Will it switch to radio mode? No. If I press the power button? Oh, that's just pause and play. So it's still in Bluetooth mode. If I tap minus, that does lower the volume of the song, right? If I hold it. Okay, so holding, totally forgot the instructions for earlier. Holding the button lowers the volume. So what is the sequence to actually put this in radio mode? It doesn't seem to give me the proper instructions. And this is why I say when it comes to quality control, companies really need to do better with their instructions because it's not many buttons to press. So if I hold the power button, it's going to basically power it off. If I double tap, it switches to light modes. But how does it go into radio mode? It's kind of important. I need to know that. Let me just try a couple things. Let me triple tap. Nothing. Tap 4 times. All right. Let me hold the power button for like 1 second. Okay. Hold it for a couple seconds. It's going to power it off, right? Not yet. And if I hold it for too long, it's going to power off the Bluetooth. Okay, so needless to say, I do not know how to put this in radio mode. The instructions don't actually tell you how to do so. When I held certain buttons, it didn't work. I don't know how to do it, to be honest with you. And quite frankly, I don't know why they still even have FM radio modes in these speakers nowadays, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to probably hook this up to your smartphone or something, and those can actually produce FM radios for absolutely free, and you don't actually need a speaker for that. But to each their own. For anyone out there that happens to figure it out, by all means, please put it in the comment section, and I would, give you credit for obviously your discovery, and then do a short or something to kind of update the people. Hey, this is how you put it in the FM mode. But so far, I cannot find it. It's not life or death. I don't really care if I could find it. I would never listen to the radio anyway. But it's still, if the feature's included, next time do a better job of actually explaining it in the instructions so that we don't have to figure it out on our own. So all in all, I don't think that the Jellyfish speaker is bad. The only gripe that I had, well, there's two gripes that I had. The battery life is perfectly fine. You're getting a whopping 6 hours. Now, I didn't play it for the full 6 hours, but I did do about 4 hours of battery life where I charged it up for about 2 hours, and it was fully charged. And then I actually hooked it up to my Steam Deck. And surprisingly, there wasn't any lag latency, just every so often. But it does work pretty well for the person that may want to use it for entertainment purposes rather than just music. So keep that in mind. You don't have to just use it for music. I just do that for video purposes. Anyway, the speaker right here, the placement is a terrible spot for a speaker. And it can make it sound a little muffled when you play it like so. If you know, go to the music section so you can hear that for yourself. But as soon as you lift it, you can tell that the quality is there. It's just that the quality control of where a speaker should be, you can tell that the team had no idea what they were doing. This is a horrible location for a speaker. And lastly, I wasn't able to actually figure out how to put this thing in FM radio mode. I just couldn't figure it out. Granted, if I hold the power button for too long, it powers it off or powers it on. If I double tap the power button, it changes between the actual light sequence. If I press up and down, if I hold it, it changes the volume up and down. If I short press it, it changes the song. So there's no actual real instructions how to switch it over. It tells you in instructions how to change the station, but it doesn't give you the process to actually switch it over to FM radio mode. And there doesn't seem to be any physical button to do so. So I'm just kind of lost in the dark on that one. But, you know, FM radio mode is not a deal breaker for me because I wouldn't use it anyway. I don't listen to the radio. But for the person out there that just likes the aesthetic of this, the tentacles do move, but it's more like a situation where it moves once you actually shake this and move. It's not going to move on its own. Not a big deal. The post lights, in my opinion, is the best color changing feature on this. Other people might like the other feature, but I am glad that they did give you multiple RGB options for lights, so you can't go wrong with that. And apparently it can connect to two speakers, which I'm not sure if I want to do that, because to be honest with you, the sound was average. It was nothing to really write home about. But I do think for holiday seasons, someone might see this, put this on their desk, it lights up. You might have a purple keyboard, different things, and they like the colors. It is what it is. And it's not a bad product, but it's not great either. But anyway, like and subscribe like always. I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care, be safe, peace.